Welcome back, and it gets more and more bizarre. Donald Trump has offered to kiss members of a rally audience and has claimed as well that he's possibly immune to COVID-19. Trump, of course, is fervently hoping that he can convince the American public that he is healthy and has recovered from the virus during a series of rallies this week, at a time when he trails his Democratic rival Joe Biden in the polls, if I'm not mistaken, around 22 days to go until the election. Live in Washington, early morning there, U.S. correspondent Simon Marks. Good afternoon to you, South African time. Another unhinged remark from Donald Trump, but I think emblematic of his growing desperation.
Well, I think that's true, Jeremy. It's 21 days to go until the election, but who's counting? 3 weeks to the day, America will make its mind up. And bear in mind that voting is already open now in more than 40 American states. And so millions of Americans have already made up their minds. But Donald Trump is beginning now to make his closing arguments with those Americans who haven't voted and with the very small number of Americans who tell pollsters that they are undecided about which way to go. And so when the president returned to the campaign trail last night in Florida, we were all wondering, are we going to see a new disciplined and focused Donald Trump who's really going to hone his message in the last 3 weeks of this campaign? Or are we once again going to see the President Trump who shows up at these rallies and kind of almost puts on a nightclub stand-up act? And it was the latter Donald Trump that we witnessed again last night, just hours after the White House physician claiming that the president was symptom-free of COVID-19 and was not at risk of spreading the infection to other people. In the middle of his speech, he told people he was feeling so fantastic he wanted to go out into the crowd and kiss all the men and all the women in the crowd. That is how confident he was that he was immune from COVID-19. But complicating this narrative, first of all, is the fact we have no idea if he's actually immune or not, nor indeed how long that immunity would last. Secondly, even as he was speaking, came news from Nevada of a case of reinfection. Someone confirmed earlier to have had COVID-19 who has caught it again. And thirdly, the president's presentation last night making fun of a virus, celebrating his own defeat of that virus in a country where over 210,000 families have lost loved ones. Once again, it was a bit of a jarring chord.
Meanwhile, back in Washington, Day 2 of the confirmation hearing of the Supreme Court judge. Yesterday was fascinating, with Kamala Harris coming out and really putting the boot in, but in the most genteel and subtle way.
Yeah, it's worth making the point that Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's running mate, is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and so she is going to have, over the next few days, an opportunity to show the public what she can do. She's going to seek to eviscerate Judge Amy Coney Barrett and really push her on this issue of whether her political viewpoints, which we know are to the right. I mean, she's made all sorts of speeches, for example, that make it very apparent that she would like to see abortion outlawed in the United States. Can she really separate her personal political opinions from the job of being a Supreme Court justice, which is to decide whether laws meet America's constitutional standards? She says yesterday she has no interest in making policy from the bench. Kamala Harris definitely is going to have questions going forward about that, and more broadly yesterday had questions about whether this entire confirmation hearing should even be taking place. She argues that this close to an election, with millions of Americans having already voted, it is unjustifiable for President Trump to think that he can now put another justice on the bench. Unfortunately for Kamala Harris, the Republicans have the votes to do it, and I think barring any kind of last-minute surprise, it's highly likely we're going to see Judge Amy Coney Barrett ascend to the 9-justice Supreme Court over the next few days.
Simon Marks, live in Washington, just